was so hard. The loneliness of that stretch and the concrete was tough. I'm trying to remind myself of that, but me.
So the whole reason I chose to do this in the first place was ultimately as a result of all of the lessons that I've learned from pushing the boat out and taking on things that scared the shit out of me in the past.
Realistically, toughest thing I've taken on to date. Only thing I can directly compare it to is the Double Brutal Extreme Triathlon in September 2022, which is a 473 kilometre ultra triathlon in Snowdonia. Ultimately, there's less impact on the bike, which made up the vast majority of the distance in that event itself. So 250 kilometres on my feet with a whole load of elevation, unfortunately most of which comes in the last 17 kilometres, or the first half of the last 17 kilometres in fact, is pretty intimidating. So I think what I'm really concerned about is just the point at which I hit that ultra endurance pain that I need to deal with for such a long period of time. As sleep deprivation increases, as pain increases, my tolerance for those things is going to be really reduced, and that's going to be unknown territory for me. Okay, so we have a very underwhelming start line, and that is because the office is just around the corner for practical reasons. But this is the Union Canal, which is going to take me all the way towards Glasgow, up to Mulgai, to the start of the West Highland Way. And if you've seen videos here before, this specific stretch of tarmac has been a huge component of all my ultra endurance training, all the storytelling, all the lessons learned over the years. And it felt very fitting to start here because I have an interesting relationship with this place. And it's going to take me to Glasgow in this direction for the first time ever, so maybe that'll make it tolerable. I don't know, perhaps. But either way, we're going to get started from here. Everything is ready to go. The only thing waiting is essentially me.
When we set these things up, we can look at pacing, we can look at his capability, look at his fitness, look at his overall physiological capacity to do this. But all we can do is make kind of educated guesses about the physiological stuff, where it'll break down, how he'll break down. What I can say for sure is that he will definitely break down. At some point, we're going to come up against mental barriers. We're going to come up against problems that he's got. We're going to come up against issues that he has to face, whether he feels like he can carry on, whether he's becoming agitated by things, whether he's just simply becoming sort of sad and insular and ruminating too hard. And our job, as well as the physical stuff and making sure that he's fueled and that we've got eyes on him and keep him safe, is also to keep him in the right mental space to continue.
Oh, it's gonna get weird. Nice day for it, at least. Personally, a bit, don't even know what the word is, not intimidated, but obviously it's quite a challenge ahead, isn't it, for everyone in the team involved. I think Fergus will be nervous, definitely, but I think he's done all the prep he feels he needs to do, so I think, as he often says, sort of he'll be at the start line thinking that he's in a good place to do it, but I think with these things, you never really know how you're going to get on, but that's sort of the beauty of the challenge. Nothing much to report.
bit of an early issue already. We are 90 minutes into the project and we've actually got a flat tyre. We're outside Mark Devlin's garage. We don't know Mark, but we found him online. The very first checkpoint that we had, as we came back to the car to set off for the next checkpoint, we could hear the hissing in the tyre and realised that we caught a flat somewhere, a big rip in the tyre actually, so we've obviously gone over something. So we're a couple of miles detoured from the track. Quick in, we can certainly get the spare off the back and onto the car, that's not really a problem. It's whether or not we can get another tyre to keep us safe.
See if A, if you've got them in stock, and then B, if you'd be able to do them for around early afternoon to mid-afternoon today.
Caught a flat, we found a garage nearby, and we are very fortunate for a lot of reasons, and actually we've been very privileged to meet a fellow called Mark Devlin, who runs a garage in Refueling. Mark not only helped us jack the car up and do the work that we needed done, but without him we wouldn't have been able to do it because the wheel locking, the nuts were locked on so hard that we needed his specialist kit to get it off. So it's almost a blessing that it happened next to a garage, but more to the point, and a wonderful moment for us all. He refused to take any money. He said it was his good deed for the day, so it's our duty to pass it on.
The reason I do this is because it scares the life out of me, and that's why it's intriguing, that's why it's exciting, that's why I think there's value in doing things like this. And my 250k could be somebody's 5k, and I think the fear that leads into that, whilst obviously objectively is different for the individual, I'm confident that that is a scalable and relative process, and that's where the value lies in these things. There's a lot of ego, there's a lot of silent competitiveness, there's a lot of comparison in this world these days, and I like to focus on doing things that get me excited to get out of bed in the morning and explore that fear, and that's for me and me alone. We happen to be filming the whole thing so that other people can see the journey, but this for me is a self-development process, and one that I'm confident whatever happens I will be better off for.
33k or so deep, and I'm just making a shoe change. I wanted a bit of a drop height just to take some pressure off my Achilles to start with, but it's not been feeling as good as it has on my long runs with them, so I'm just going to change to what I know and love, which is zero drop open toe box stuff.
Carry on with that fanny bit at the back here.
That is very much allowed. Yeah, feeling good. Essentially I think it's just a case of settling into this rhythm now. I've settled quite nicely into 630 per k. Heart rate's about 142. Breathing rate's fine. Nothing really to report. Just kind of chipping away, but it's good geographically speaking, knowing that Linlithgow, where we are currently, isn't somewhere you consider round the corner from Edinburgh. You see it is a little bit out of town, so to be here on foot is just a good way of reinforcing just how ridiculously far away this trip is in the car, let alone on foot, so best crack on.
He looks steady, not fussed. Usually, if he's got a lot to say on these things, like if he stops now and he's got a lot to talk about, it's because he's trying to kind of, reset himself. Whereas that's the last 3 times we've met him, he's just been, hey ho, right, I'm off. So he's pretty settled. His mood seems good too, so I can't see any reason why he won't come through here in the same way as he was last time.
This one's emptied itself all over me to get this one binned.
Check that last one as well.
Yeah, there was one that was a bit loose.
How are you feeling?
All right. I've dipped a little bit because I haven't had fluids for about an hour. Yeah, no, moving well. Everything feels good. I'm just in that steady rhythm now, but I've just been walking a little bit there just to keep my heart rate down because I don't want to. Not yet. Because I don't want to. I didn't want to get my sweat too high without fluids. So,
just
4.5 hour marathon. So, basically an hour and a half ahead of schedule in many ways.
Yeah, you're looking good.
Yeah. All feels solid.
Certainly timing wise, you're moving real well.
It's on you.
Every single time.
This is shit.
It's the 100 ones.
1/25 sounds good, but then you're like, oh, that's not getting much better.
Nah. Mate, you're chewing it up really.
Yeah,
you
it's
look
fine.
good, you don't look like you're
No.
what's your heart rate like? It's down around 44.
145, 146 ish. Just in that shuffle already. 630, 645s, which is
This bodes well.
yeah. It's just
Not that we expect to see anything other than just a bit of careful Sam.
just hammering me. Just hammering me.
Yeah, I'm glad you changed it to carbon.
Yeah. Well, the main thing is
spring to start with.
I don't
When
want
you're
to.
shuffling, you're not looking for
I didn't want to use my feet too much. Whereas now I can feel my feet working, which means they're going to be gassed by now. Everything's going to be gassed.
What else have you got?
Some savoury.
Flavors. Carbon.
I think I've only just really settled into what's happening. It's been such a rush and so much chaos to get to this point that I think I've only just kind of decompressed. Coming out of the Falkirk Tunnel with Scott and Cameron and Jamie just holding some snacks, I feel like I've now settled and got into a rhythm where I can just make peace with moving forward steadily, ignore pacing, just forward motion, plus crisps.
So we've got. I mean, I've marked out on the timeline and on the map itself where I think it's going to be hardest for him and how I think he's going to struggle and why I think he's going to struggle. And we'll brief the team after he's gone, without him being here, so that we can kind of go through that in depth. And then it's going to be a little bit of that is my guesswork. So after that, we're going to have to manage that as we go.
I'm hurting now.
Yeah, where are you hurting?
Just fatigue.
Yeah.
Doubts have fucking skyrocketed.
Have they?
Yeah, mate, it's just such a long way.
We were just talking about whether
the fact I'm hurting now, and you're like, oh my goodness gracious. Have you got pork pie?
Do I have a pork pie? I always have pork pies.
How are you feeling now? Emotionally?
I don't really want to get moving again. But again, this is soul sapping. This. It's just the worst part of it in many ways.
This is the worst part of the first part. Is you closing into the end of the canal. I think we knew you'd feel this way at this point. what you know you've got to look forward to is once this bit's done, you start in a new race. You're into the trails.
Under significant fatigue.
Yeah, you'll have Jamie with you, but it's a different game altogether.
Yeah,
One that you like different. I think once you get there and meet the whole team at the beginning of the West Highland Way, your mindset will change. And you're going into the night, so your mindset will have to change, but emotionally I think you'll change getting him in with you for a bit.
Yeah, it'll help massively. And just trails, just to give my lower limbs some relief.
Yeah. The monotony of the canals we knew, once you were getting each step closer to the end, it's just going to get worse and fucking bad. I think a little bit of rest, but you could malinger and just maybe not sleep, but just kind of ease off for a bit whilst we shift bags and stuff.
I think
like
that'd do me some good, just a sort of proper break.
I think to be in amongst us while we're all doing all that bit as well would be useful, just to commune
Just
for a bit.
lie in the back of something,
Yeah.
on the floor.
Maybe with
It has been lonely. It has been lonely. I haven't enjoyed that part of it much. It's a fair few. I mean, I didn't even tell you before. There were 5 or 6 people aside from Chelsea that have come out to say hello.
I've got a few messages myself saying just
Yeah, 2 people have brought T-shirts to like wave, which is very cool.
He showed me a picture of the guy. Said he thought he was going to miss you after the fastest sprint he's ever done.
Yeah, he popped up, ran and popped up. Yeah, very
That's
cool.
cool. That is cool.
Yeah,
Oh, that's cold.
That's where this is going.
So we're at Twicker. The way we've staged this out, we're about 8 stages into 10, the way we've broken the canals down. That makes him about 2 hours out from here to where he starts the West Highland Way. So we've got kind of 2 or 3 sections the whole thing's broken into. Section 1 is getting the canals done, and it's hard. It's hard because he's on his own for this section, because it's all concrete and because it really is quite monotonous. So we just had him in at the truck there and had a good look at him, took 10 minutes with him, maybe 15. And he's a little bit emotional, a little bit tired. But if we look back in our timelines, the way we programmed this out and looked at it, we knew this would be here at this point.
Darkness.
The darkness.
In the dark times.
Just because the darkness is coming a little bit.
I knew it was coming. There's no surprises though, I guess. That's
No,
it.
but it's still.
Mate, look.
Also, there's no surprises that it tackles your emotions up and down, is
The
it?
loneliness of that stretch and the concrete was tough. I don't know why. I think it's just because it was the first bit. I hadn't really necessarily psychologically prepared for it as much as I should have done, knowing that obviously it's the first third and essentially the event begins once it's done.
This last bit
Just a bit of water, I think. Fucking concrete.
Right.
I've had enough. I've had enough concrete. There's a few sections of the West Highland Way with concrete.
West Highland Way.
Are we from Wales now?
Don't know what that was.
We'll get you at the start of the West Highland Way, at the actual thing, and then
Yeah.
you can decant into the car and do like that.
I'll have a bag of
Receiving you
crisps,
in and out.
just so I don't get complacent. If possible. Thank you. We get to the start of the West Highland Way. I'll sit with my head in my hands for a little bit and just think about what's to come, but I'm already pretty encouraged by how much better I felt on non-concrete terrain, and actually just the impact and the way my legs felt was much better on that little bit of trail there versus the concrete.
Yeah, ready to go to be fair. Obviously I think Fergus is at the point where you need support, aren't you?
Fuck me, that dragged on. I need some food.
Yeah, I think we'll get you settled, get you sat down for a bit in the white truck.
I think I want a little bit, mate. That's fucking. Yeah. We'll just go for an hour.
We'll get.
What's that? 165k, so that's more than 100 miles. Whose idea was this? Anyway, that is section number 1 of 3 in my head done, and that I've been a bit complacent with that, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't really taken it seriously until I was in it today. I kind of just didn't really think much about it. I didn't mentally prepare for it as much as I should have done, because the concrete's just decimated my legs. All of my thoughts have been on this next bit and Nevis, when I definitely should have allocated some more thoughts to that. Anyway, onwards.
Got about 20 k's, I think 21k to do with Fergus. I think he's feeling a bit tired obviously now. Obviously dark now as well, which won't make things easy, but yeah, I think obviously ready to go. Hopefully I can help with that.
Just trying to stay warm at the moment. I've just sat here to get some chips down me and a cup of coffee. First bit of caffeine thus far. Trying to be sparing and tactical with it. I've been shivering like a madman in here, so I'm kind of dreading getting back outside, but needed a psychological break after that last section, just dragging on for ages. This is a real clear break point. The canal is done. Changing into trail shoes. Jamie's with me. Night shift. In terms of pacing, we don't need to move that quickly. We just need to move continuously to be able to sort of break the back of what we want to achieve. Again, there's no sort of strict time deadlines that we're working to for this. I think the only thing I've been saying is that I'd like to finish before it gets dark on Sunday at the latest. So yeah, I'm just trying to get warm. I've just wrapped myself in this dry robe rather than lay it over the top of me, and I've hooded myself up, hoping I can get my core body temperature back up a bit to get outside, change my socks, change my shoes. Oh, good, you big yawn to sign things off. Perfect representation of how I'm feeling.
Right, well, we kind of want you ready now.
Okay. Nice try, Fergus. That's an absolute cocaine. We just gently up peanuts in them, that'll be entertaining. No, excellent. I can always get cookies down me on ultras so well. So caffeine. Nah. I think on principle he's against it. For now. I need a few more of them, don't I? Oh. Pro plus, you are pathetic. Okay, right. Oh, I'm immediately freezing. I'm just going to dump this in the front seat, not to be inconsiderate, but just for the sake of... Yeah. I've got the watch, yeah, it's on. Yeah, correct. Correct. Oh, fuck. Oh, good. Good. Oh, why don't we live in a tropical country? Probably wouldn't have any desire to do this stuff if I did, to be fair. Just lie on a beach and enjoy life, rather than finding ways. Yeah, I do enjoy my life. I don't want to sound needlessly critical. I'm just stalling. Wow. Oh, fuck this. fucking whole path was a bog. Yeah. We couldn't run at all. And now my legs are fucked from having to sidestep and everything so much.
Sliding about, please.
I'm not being drinking it. I need water in my bladder now. I can't hack anymore.
What are you thinking about stopping? Just get in, coffee, get fed, go.
10 minutes.
Good. Well, that's good for you, mate.
Ah, fucking concrete.
Tricky. The whole path is.
Who's asking for water?
The whole path's very muddy, which obviously on very, very tired legs makes it very difficult to move at any pace. So he's struggling, I think. Well, definitely. Which is expected. I think everyone knew it was going to be pretty tough at this stage, but I think that's just put a bit of a spanner in the works because even walking is quite difficult because you just have to mind your feet so much. But
what do you think the struggle was? Psychological or has it become physical? Because what I know is what
physically it is. You can just feel it going under you.
It's just little kind of small kind of micro movements that just cause a lot of pain.
Every lateral movement that he's not expecting causes. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's hard.
Okay.
But
So maybe the next bit will be once you get back in a little bit more of us, because there's less of that from here to there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Destroyed after that, to be honest. That section's absolutely minced me. What should have been a fast, flowy, open, rhythmic section was just ridiculous. A bog the whole way. Barring the last 3 miles, I think, which were all on concrete.
Just racing.
And concrete does just not sit well at the moment. So that was tough. Pace dropped off, but couldn't really move any quicker. And now my legs feel way worse than they did about an hour ago after having to figure that out. So I'm hoping some food and some coffee will bring me back, because I'm concerned about doing another 140 odd K on the set of legs I've currently got, because it's not good.
What should have been 2 and a bit hours has turned into 3.5 hours, give or take, and a lot of pain. I say a lot of pain. There's some physical pain there, not bad, but frustration. They're both really frustrated. Even Jamie, who's only been in there for a few hours, coming out frustrated. He's not a guy to get frustrated. So I'm going to sit with Fergus now and have a chat about what that means for him, because we're taking Jamie out now, really to spare Jamie for when we put him back in.
Well, yeah, on the bottom ground. And then on the back of the okay.
Right.
Right, mate. See you next.
Enough of concrete.
You'll regret saying that shortly.
Oh well. Why do you have to bring up the obvious? I'm compartmentalising, Johnny.
We'll not stop you for long, mate. You just crack on.
Fuck. This was a terrible idea. Second worst section of the whole thing, this. Balmaha to Ardennen is deceptively terrible.
and then Rauarden into Inversnaid is not great, and then Inversnaid to Rinveranen is absolutely abysmal. I'll have Jamie with me for that, but that will be the slowest section of the day, I think. If that's boggy as well, I'm going to throw a temper tantrum, guarantee it. But it'll be light, which will make a big difference. I don't back myself doing Inversnaid to Rinveranen in the dark. I'd definitely trip and nail my knee or collarbone or something. Maybe I'm looking for a way out, who knows. Bye.
Here we are, although you can't see now, it's right at the, in a little forest car park, right at the foot of Ben Lomond, which when the sun is out it's an absolutely beautiful sight, but the sun isn't out, and we've just come through an extraordinary downpour, like a really bad downpour. So Fergus is out there enjoying that from a different perspective. He's probably about 90 to 120 minutes from here, from when we last saw him. There's no safe point for us to stop and put a car out between here and there, so he's on his own for a bit in the dark. As soon as he gets here, we're going to give him Jamie back and keep eyes on him again, but we knew this was going to be a hard part for him, so we're just kind of waiting for him now, just waiting for him to get here and hoping that it's not too rough a journey. But like I say, I do expect him to get here in a bit of a shit state, and we'll do a bit of a patch job before we send him on. But at least when he does arrive here, the sun will be coming up and that'll lift his spirits too, so should be good.
Thank you, mate.
Not easy, is it?
So 129k down, so over halfway, but also well over halfway if I'm viewing this as stage 2 cumulatively. Nevis doesn't really count until we get there, so that's good. But I am now worried about pace, because that has absolutely murdered me. I cannot, that's fucking...
I mean, you're only really going to know about your pace capability once you pick up in a terrain that's actually useful. 'Cause that's twice now you've been under the pressure of underfoot being almost impossible. Because you've been, for the benefit of anybody listening and watching, Fergus has told me that rather than coming down the hills, any undulation at all downwards, he's had to come down sideways because there's so many mudslides that to come down forward would be dangerous.
My foot got so far stuck in a bog, I thought I was going to have to call you at one point, or I was going to snap my Achilles. It took me 2 minutes to get it out.
Just to get it out?
Yeah. That rain was horrific.
Yeah.
I'm just deteriorating like fuck after the 2 hour mark.
You seem tired. We need to get you fed and get you warm. We'll have to get change of shoes on you and stuff and change all that shit up because you're absolutely smashed looking. But once you've gotten warm, dressed, fed, maybe a bit of shut-eye, then you're going to feel different altogether.
Fuck me. That was so hard. When did I see you in Balmaha? About 4?
Yeah. Well, about 4:45 actually.
Oh, right, okay. So it wasn't slow as I thought it was. Slow. If I need to carry that pace, it's going to be a long fucking weekend. I mean, we knew that already, but...
basically just ran along Loch Lomond and was very close to the edge of the loch, and it was just very slippy rock up and down the whole way, so we could never really get into rhythm, which obviously for a man who's done 140, 150 odd K at that point makes it very, very difficult. Even for someone who's not done that amount of running, it was difficult.
Fucking shafted by the bogginess.
Mate, that's
put me on my arse.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
struggling to
what
come
I'll
back
do
from it.
with anything other than incidental shit. And we've built out for that a little bit, but not for the way the heavens opened last night, which has changed the trail altogether from what we predicted.
Every step now is a PB. Energy's alright. I'm just trying not to get engulfed and overwhelmed by what's remaining,
Yeah.
because that was hard work. Finger on the pulse the whole way through, there was no let up there.
That's good.
If that's what's needed for the rest of it, the mental requirement for that is tough. I feel tired now.
Yeah.
I feel it in my eyes right now, actually. The sun's winding me up as well. What a British thing to say.
The team came together so well to sort of control that chaos, and the uncomfortable reality of the past 3 days is actually quite funny. Nobody really knows how we've ended up in this position, doing such silly things with an amazing support team, working behind the scenes, making things happen, and cheering me up when I come in from a section that was particularly tough, because there were some particularly tough sections. There was bogginess that was really unpredicted in some areas that really slowed Jamie and I down on night one. That knocked my confidence, it sat my legs, and the carryover and knock-on effect from that was huge.
I don't think we'll know entirely what he's learned from it until he's kind of been away and kind of allowed the dust to settle and the whole thing to soak in and stuff. But I've been really impressed with how Fergus has handled a lot of the problems that have been thrown at him.
I'm going to go through 2 nights of darkness without any plans to sleep. So I predict that the worst element of this is going to be night 2. Night 2 is going to be, the word graveyard shift gets thrown a lot in this sphere, but that is going to be the graveyard shift for me.
Got a big split in the middle of my foot.
Mac has experience as a medic, and we've had a look. It's good to go. Needs dried out a little bit. It's probably going to get a little bit worse, but it's not going to be terrible. It looked at first like he got a little bit of a gash in his foot, but it isn't. It's where the skin's all gotten puffy and it's kind of folding over itself.
It's almost like trench foot, you know, he's not been drying them off, he's just been putting dry socks on straight away, and his feet are still quite moist, so it's all starting to crack now.
The issues seem to have just stopped for a little bit. They've abated. Fergus is in a really positive mood. We feel like the next couple of sections are going to go positively. All the kit's where it should be, and we're feeling good. So that concern. But the hardest part about the night is, I mean, you can get this in your own home, is if you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you feel like you're the only person in the world. If you're out running on the West Highland Way at 3 in the morning and there's nobody with you, and at times there will be nobody with him, he's going to feel so isolated that those are the times that we've marked out that there'll be issues mentally to deal with. Coming to a close.
That was so hard. That was so hard. Painkillers, I think. Time to probably get some paracetamol on board, because if anything will help at this stage. That's the last.
We haven't had any pain relief for the best part of 10 hours now, in actual fact.
I'm just hoping, because I've been in that same mood before. The only thing different this time is that I'm more fatigued, and it's the second night shift, which means that I'm being more catastrophic about it.
Yeah, it's just happened.
Yeah.
So you're not really in a position to really kind of concentrate or even give me much of an appraisal. So I think we take 10 minutes.
That's genuine.
Okay, well, no, I'd say he started really well, to be fair. Like, at one point, I was sort of having to catch him up, being like, oh, Christ, okay. But then it just sort of progressively got worse and worse, and then I'd say the last, what have we done total? 19, probably the last like 7 or 8k was just like complete disaster, really, in terms of just how he was feeling and how he was acting. But like, we got a bit of sort of running every now and then, but it was mainly just stop, start, walking, complaining.
Do you feel like his head has gone first, or do you think like his head's followed his physicality? Which one's gone?
I'd say his physicality will go slightly worse, and then his head will make it seem worse than it is.
Yeah.
That, from the outsider's perspective, that's how it looks. But he's obviously not in a great way physically, but that's expected.
Yeah.
But it's just the way emotionally he's reacting to it. It's just like, I think it's been potentially dramatic.
Obviously in the dark you can't really discern flat from incline. Declines are harder to sort of visualise and approach or attack, shall we say, dramatically. And the terrain was just horrendous.
Yeah.
Like it was like cobbles but with mismatched stones. So if you ever run on cobbles, you kind of like it was like that for 14k. That or lose screen. So it's just lit. My feet aren't in a good way.
Yeah. How's the
early onset trench foot.
Yeah.
Sore now.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's been massively irritated by all that sort of constant, I don't know, just so many pressure points from the cobbles over and over again. It's just lit up my whole lower body, and I'm just in every step's such an effort. Like, takes a lot of effort to do one step that at this point isn't actually very quick. So it feels quite diminishing returns at this point. But I'm hoping, because I was here before about 150k, just before drove us in,
and I bounced back from that and felt great. So maybe it's just the night shift, maybe it's the fact I got caught off guard by not actually knowing what the terrain was like there versus when I was in the snow.
Yeah, this is your second night.
Or maybe I'm just falling apart.
Yeah.
And yeah, compounding fatigue of 2 nights. I feel a bit gone. I do feel a bit gone.
Yeah.
The main thing I'm thinking on is when does Nevis not become justifiable from a safety point of view or a sensibility point of view? There's no point in going up if I'm going to hurt myself or be a liability, because I am getting a bit weird, but I know that when the light comes up that will massively improve. So psychologically I think I don't know, when I set off with John in 10 minutes or so, if I feel the way I did then, now, you know what I mean, then that will be quite disheartening.
Yeah, it's very emotional. He's struggling with his emotions. The good thing about it though is he knows he's struggling with his emotions. He's not just being emotional and acting out and being a bit mental. He's very tired and he's very emotional, and he's kind of flip-flopping between being angry, being upset, but all negative emotions at the moment, but he's aware of it. So we've had a chat, he's kind of settled in with the team a little bit. We need to get him moving again real quick, but because he's aware of it we can then work on it, and because he and I will be together for the first time, working together actually physically as opposed to me managing the support team here, that'll give us a different dynamic. We can work through that together. But another good aspect about the timing here is we're going to come up and over Devil's Ridge. As we come down into Kinrock leaving, the sun should be coming up. So I think that we're going to push through this hard part together. Like I say, the terrain's different, harder in actual fact, because we're going to go up quite a heavy incline. But as the sun comes up, that'll change his emotional state a lot.
Many tantrums were had. Jamie, my brother, was on the receiving end of the most tantrums. The section through Rannoch Moor was particularly harrowing for him, shall we say.
$220 kilometres, 5 plates. Oh, that's not how this works here, never mind. That was good until it wasn't. Devil's Staircase, never done that before, so good to get up it and tick off the box. Unfortunately, I've heard the views are magnificent, so we chose a fantastic time to do it. But the forestry trail at the back end was just the last thing that I needed at this point. Loads of really steep downhills that just all weight was going through sort of mid-foot or heels, and just sending a whole load of impact up through my knees and into my hips and just battering my feet. So with everything falling apart, a lot of it stemming from the feet upwards, yeah, that wasn't ideal, but we are where we are. So pleased to be in the ballpark of where we want to be, but still just not dreading would be the wrong word, but still apprehensive about every step, because pain is high, fatigue is high. How you doing? Good to see you, mate. Good to see you.
Good to see you, dude.
Thanks.
You
Good,
brought
how you
that.
doing?
Good, man, good.
Yeah, great to see you, mate.
Oh. The West Highland Way is one of the world's most popular tourist trails, and I thought it would be great to try and bring that to life, because I love training in this country. I love exploring myself in this country, and we ultimately decided that as I'd made up some volume elsewhere by having to adjust a few routes along the way,
with the winter conditions at the top, Johnny and I effectively decided, with advisement from Mac as well, and some of the local Loch Arbour Mountain Rescue team here, that it would probably be ill-advised for us to go up being so sleep-deprived, so fatigued, and so just destroyed, for want of a better phrase, with the conditions up there, just on the off chance somebody made a mistake, and we wouldn't want to do that. So we decided to carry on and hit 250, which was the main goal, and I did that by running a couple of 400-metre out and backs over and over again in the car park, which means that we were ultimately left with probably the most British and dissatisfying celebration on that bridge over there the world has ever seen. The battle that I've had with myself over the past couple of days, I have only been given the opportunity to learn the lessons from those battles because I took that step out into the unknown and embraced the fear. And I know, once I've had a chance to reflect on this, I will be better off as a human being, I'll be better off in every facet of my life. So I encourage everybody to do exactly that.